The 55th Super Bowl is this weekend, 55, and a game this big deserves a big prize, not just some trophy. And DraftKings, the official daily fantasy sports partner of Super Bowl 55, has up to $55 million in total prizes up for grabs with their Super Bowl prediction pool. How's that for big?
All you have to do to get your share of these huge prizes is enter DraftKings' free Super Bowl prediction challenge. Once you submit your picks, you will get a free instant prize up to $25,000. And if you have the most predictions correct, you could win the top prize of $1 million. Download the app now, enter the free prediction challenge, answer questions like who will score first, who will score last, and boom, get ready to make it rain. DraftKings has paid out over $7 billion to its players since 2012, so they know a thing or two about big paydays.
Download the DraftKings app now and use the promo code THPN to enter the free $55 million Super Bowl prediction challenge. Everyone gets an instant prize up to $25,000 just for playing. So use promo code THPN now and enter the free $55 million Super Bowl challenge only at DraftKings, the official daily fantasy partner of Super Bowl 55. Terms, conditions, and eligibility restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
And now, the starting lineup for your Bluenotes podcast. Tom Franklin and the man called Wags.
Hello and welcome to Bluenotes. I am one half of your Bluenotes team, Tom Franklin, joined by my teammate, the man called Wags. And we are your home for St. Louis Blues coverage on the Hockey Podcast Network. And that includes expert analysis, whether it's at Enterprise Center.
When you're fighting for spots for the playoffs, 1 or 2 points could make the difference. And we'll be looking back at games like tonight here at Enterprise Center as lost opportunities.
Or at home.
Penalties, that was a big piece. You know, you're wearing down some of your best players because they're out on the ice for so many penalty kill opportunities. Just a complete breakdown.
Blues first round pick, Jake Neighbors.
Braden Chan texted me, and then the head coach, Craig Berube, reached out as well, and Ryan O'Reilly as well. And then the next day, on day 2 of the draft, Tarasenko FaceTimed me, so that was pretty cool. So.
And we're the only hockey podcast in the Hockey Podcast Network to have a Hawaiian hockey correspondent. The Hawaii Blues fan, Guy Bensing.
In true Dan Kelly fashion, Dan Kelly says, F you, Keaton. I know who's the starting pitcher for Game 4 of the World Series. You damn well know who the starting goalie is for Game 4 of the NHL season. And then walked away.
And we have a musician, too. Not only is he responsible for this fat beat you're listening to right now, but he has also performed absolute works of art.
And it seems to me you played the game with a candle to your rear, never wanting to leave the ice when the pain set in.
So check out Bluenotes wherever you get your podcasts from. New episodes every Monday and Thursday. I'm Tom Franklin, reminding you to not be a chump, listen to Bluenotes, and always play to the whistle.
A reminder that you can follow Bluenotes on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bluenotes Pod. I'm the voice of the Blues, Tom Calhoun.
I was walking through the halls of a Minnesota rink when along came a Wild fan who started talking smack to me. He said, I bet you never liked the Blues until they won a cup. And so I calmly turned to him and said, hey man, listen up. I admit it's pretty great to win Lord Stanley's prize, but listen, I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. Yes, sir, I'm a Blues fan. Yes, sir, I'm a Blues fan. Heartbreak's all I knew, man. That team from old St. Lou, man. Got a cup in here, 52, man. Give me a Let's Go Blues. I know Brett Hall, Courtnall, Campbell, Cujo, Jenny Oates, Brown, Chase, Fuhr, Zombo, Cecil, Butcher, Shanny, Tilly, Tuttle, Sutter, Twister, Turcotte, Kimball, Turgeon, Barron, Basson, Pronger, Pearson, Bergevin, Bozon, Al McInnes, Crab, Chuck, Howard, Chuck, Petrovicki, Pellerin, Dimitra, Yate, Corson, Conrad, Gretzky. Yes, sir, I'm a Blues fan. Yes, sir, I'm a Blues fan. Heartbreak's all I knew, man. That team from old St. Lou, man. Got a cup year 52, man. Give me a Let's Go Blues.
And now, the starting lineup for your Blue Notes podcast. Tom Franklin and the man called Wags.
Thanks a lot, Tom Calhoun, and hello and welcome to Blue Notes, located on the best city on the Mississippi, the best in the Midwest. We've got that Stanley Cup power, too sweet to be sour. And if you're still clueless, we are talking about St. Louis. This is your home for St. Louis Blues coverage on the Hockey Podcast Network. I am one of your co-hosts, Tom Franklin, joined by, well, my other co-host, the man called Wags. How's it going, bud?
Oh, it's going great. Coming off of another big win in Anaheim tonight. Blues are on a 3-game winning streak.
We're going streaking!
Oh, God, no. No one wants to see either of us do that.
No. I'm trying to find you a date after all, and I think that might be a little too aggressive on your part, so... Yeah, let's
second date territory. Second date territory.
Yeah, maybe a second date. Maybe. Yeah, we'll go with that. So, anyways, the Blues finally break their second game of a 2-game set duck, if you will, against the Ducks. Tonight we'll talk about that game tonight and kind of what's led up to tonight's game. Actually, mostly from Luke Widbin, who has his Week 3 wrap for us that he recorded for us before tonight's game. So we'll hear from him in just a little bit. First of all, you can always find us on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Blue Notes Pod. Very simple. We also have our Facebook group, the Blue Notes Bunch, Wags, and that group continues to grow. We are up to 93 members right now, and it's been fun getting involved in the conversation there.
It really has, because people have actually been conversing on it, posting gifs and conversing about what's going on in the game. We're having some really good discussions about, Philly Husso and Justin Falk. I mean, it's a Justin Falk Stan Club now. So.
That's right. That's part of the title. So if you look up Justin Falk Stan Club, you'll find the Blue Notes Bunch as well, because that's part of our title. So who knew we would have a Facebook group called the Justin Falk Stan Club after 8 games?
Not me, because everybody was ready to throw him up into Seattle going into this season. And now we're sitting here going, he might be our best defenseman.
Well, that porn stash of his would have definitely played up in the Pacific Northwest, that's for sure. But he's our Falk, damn it, at least until he reverts to the Falk of last year, then he may still be Seattle bound.
Who has a better mustache, though? Justin Falk or Luke Widbin?
Oh God! Don't make me choose. Don't make me choose.
Luke, if you're listening, you gotta chime in on this.
Yeah. Try and if you're not Luke, feel free to comment and we'll pop it up and talk about it here on Blue Notes tonight. I hate to stab my friend Luke in the back, but Falk's handlebars. That's a hard thing to beat. Luke says, I knew my greatest contribution is getting you to love Justin Falk, because he's the one that was asking us to turn our Facebook group into the Justin Falk Stan Club. And, we listen to our customers. So, and you know why Luke insisted we call it the Justin Falk Stan Club, not just because of his great play, but Justin is Luke Widbin's daddy.
There you go. That's all you needed to know.
That is from the fingers of Luke Widbin himself, folks. So shout out to Kurt Price listening tonight, host of the Let's Go Radio podcast, one of the original St. Louis Blues podcasts. He puts on a great show there. Check him out. He's also fun to chat with on Twitter as well. So, by the way, we weren't going to play our own promo in the promo slot. That promo is going to be heard on every single Hockey Podcast Network outlet this week. So every Monday episode, every Thursday episode, Tuesday, Friday, Wednesday, whatever, it's going to be on there. I wasn't going to play it because, I'm modest and I don't want to gloat too much. I'm proud of that video. And I'm not proud because of the way I put it together, which, whatever. But as you kind of pointed out, Wags, it shows how far this podcast has come. We are over 100 episodes strong. Back when I started doing this podcast from my damn closet, with my clothes hanging behind me, and it looked real ratchet. By the way, shout out to Blues Fan Reacts on Twitter. He actually hopped on Guy Bensing's post-game show, the YA Blues Fan, yesterday on Facebook, and he broadcast from his closet. So shout out to all of you closet podcasters out there. You're not alone. And we do it because of the acoustics, folks. We do it because of the acoustics. I'm out here though just because it was either that or my closet with my hockey jerseys, and I'm so full of hockey jerseys, Wags, I wouldn't be able to fit in there.
But we'll tease this here. You're going to be announcing our interview tomorrow that we're having for our Thursday episode. You're going to probably have more jerseys coming your way very, very soon. But
probably.
When this first started, yes, like how Weird Al started, and everybody loves Weird Al. Come on,
who doesn't?
Who doesn't like Weird Al?
If you don't like Weird Al, you're not an American. Okay,
100% agreed. I'm pretty sure he's Canadian.
Oh, you're not North American, okay? How about that? Mexico represent.
But like you were saying, it's amazing how far we've come, because when you first started it was just a podcast. And I was able to be fortunate enough to jump on with you, and we were still just doing podcasts. And then the pandemic hit, and we kind of pivoted to this video thing because this is how we had to record. And it's grown from just us being on video to now bringing in guys like Luke Widbin and Guy Bensing. And then we've had guests coming on as well, including Jim Thomas, Jake Neighbors. It's not so much that we're being, I guess, egotistical, but we're really just proud of what we've been able to accomplish. And it's nice to just kind of showcase that and say, hey, look, this actually is where we're at. We're doing pretty well.
And we can make a 2.5-minute promo that is exceptionally long compared to other Hockey Podcast Network promos because we've done the work.
Yes.
So that's what I like to say anyway. And we are so glad that each and every one of you are with us here, watching Bluenotes, listening to Bluenotes. I mean, we may not be the biggest podcast. We may not have Let's Go Blues numbers, Kurt Price's podcast, but you know what? You're with us. We adore each and every one of you, and we look forward to seeing this thing keep grow. By the way, Kurt notes that he has every Weird Al Yankovic album. So that's some dedication for you.
Very, very much so.
I think Kurt is lump. He's lump. He's lump. He's in his head.
He's also Gump.
That's right. Oh, that's right. That's the cover. Oh man, I have blown my Weird Al Yankovic test. I have failed. Now you have to go learn to play the accordion. Sorry. Oh Christ! Why'd you put that on me? Now I nearly went to work for a polka station in Wisconsin about 5 years ago, and I turned it down because I like my sanity. And now you're putting this maloik on me. What the hell?
You get one more chance. We'll come back next week, and we will have some more Weird Al trivia or a Weird Al song that you have to kind of get the lyrics on. I'll say this. If you can come on the show next week and bust out Amish Paradise with no notes, you're good.
I loved Amish Paradise growing up, actually, but it's one of those songs I haven't heard in a long time, and its lyrics are kind of, way deep crammed in the file cabinet of my head. So, yeah, I think I'll research that. How's it going, Hawaii Blues fan? He's checking in here tonight. Kurt, it's a pretty badass the caliber of guest podcasts have been getting just in general. So nice job, guys, because I have kind of noticed that it's not just us, but it seems like the pandemic gave everyone a chance to kind of branch out a little bit. And of course, with players and former players kind of just, chilling in their own homes like we have, gives them a chance to do something as well. So we were, I remember when we talked to Gerard, Gerard was in the Netherlands, and they had a tighter lockdown than we did. So I think he was just happy that someone checked in on him.
I think lots of people wanted to know what was going on with Gerard. Definitely.
Exactly. Because it had been a year since he was in St. Louis, and he'll be back. He'll be back in St. Louis. We will make sure that, and we are definitely going to have a beer 5 with Gerard when he comes to town. That is for sure. So, anyway, so that promo, if you're just joining us, it'll be on every Hockey Podcast Network episode this week. Has a little bit of us, a little bit of the Hawaii Blues fan, a little bit of Luke Widbin. And oh, by the way, speaking of Luke, first of all, he has a comment here. If I make a parody of Amish Paradise called Thomas Stops on Ice, would a hole rip through the universe? You know what? That sounds like a challenge.
I think it does too.
Yes, and you know what? We're not big enough to where if we get copyright claimed on YouTube, it's going to matter. So fire away, Luke. Fire away. We're going to do a special episode Thursday, by the way. But if you want to try that, Luke, we will certainly play it for you. Absolutely. And another legal question here. Luke asks, can you legally parody a parody? I think that's where the universe ripping, comes into play there. I think that's because then it's like, you're getting into like Soviet, Russia joke territory here. Never mind. I'm not even going to try it.
No. Yakov Smirnov in Soviet Russia rode for you.
Yeah, exactly. In Soviet Russia, parodies you. So, there you go. There you go. And speaking of Luke, of course, and don't forget about Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan. He's been trying to bust out his musical talents lately. We've heard him on the commentary lately, and the Kygo. He's been trying. So just Luke is setting the bar here. So, by the way, Kurt notes that they were copyright claimed on YouTube a long time ago. It wasn't fun. I don't recommend. Well, we're not big enough to where we actually make revenue off of YouTube yet, so it doesn't take any money out of our pockets at the moment. And a claim is a little different than a strike. We haven't been striked yet. We've been claimed just for playing like Luke Widbin's song Thursday, Blue Kairu, because it sampled Linda Ronstadt's song. So we got a claim on that. And it makes it very clear if you go into the back and it says it's not a strike. You're not in trouble or anything, but you're not going to make any money off of this episode. And if others open it up on YouTube, they might get subjected to an ad. That's basically how it works. So we'll see how long we can keep abusing the privilege that YouTube gives us there. That's for sure. By the way, my friend Tim, if a hole rips through the universe, would it be Husso's fault? Because that is a cross check to the St. Louis Blues Twitter community, especially those after Husso's first goal tonight. They all came out of the woodwork tonight. And what is it with the West Blues fans and goaltenders?
That's a great question.
I mean, we just get the yips when it comes to our goalies.
Literally. We really do. After Cujo and Fuhrer, it's kind of been like, we think, but we don't. And even when you have somebody that's here that has a chance to be great, we always find fault with them. And maybe it drives them out of town. Maybe it hits their psyche. Jake Allen could have been a phenomenal goaltender here. And he's doing well in Montreal. Maybe it's because of the fans. Maybe not. We'll never know. But it is what it is.
Well, Bayou Benders, who, of course, is one half of the Habs Nightly podcast, he said that I guess Jake Allen had to come into the game or something Saturday. And he said, this is Jake Allen's time to shine. And I'm like, dude, don't tell Jake that, okay? Because he gets nervous when you say that. And Benders couldn't quite believe it. But Twitter doesn't allow you to fully encapsulate the last few years of Jake Allen's time in St. Louis.
But Jake Allen was always at his best when he had competition. And that's the thing. Carey Price is competition. If it was, if Carey Price was injured and it was all on Allen and the spotlight was on him, that's different because that's what happened when we had Hutchison here and it was his time. He fell apart. But when he had that push of competition, he was always at his best. Hutton and oh my gosh, I lost his name completely. Elliott at the same. Both those guys really push him. And even when Bennington came in, Allen rose to the occasion. So having that competition is what Jake Allen, I think, thrives on. It's when it's only him and on him alone that you start to see the cracks.
Exactly. And I don't think he'll have that situation in Montreal, although Carey Price has missed some games, in recent years due to injuries. So he's had a pretty heavy workload over the years. So we'll keep an eye on our Jake the Snake up in Montreal. But in the meantime, let's get you recapped on the week that was in hockey, as only Luke Widbin can do it. Here is his week 3 wrap. Again, this was recorded before tonight's game. So, but I don't think his wrap would really change too much. So let's go ahead and play some Luke Widbin.
A trend is emerging after the Blues win. They'll take game 1, then let the other team in. Is it compete? Is it effort? Shen thinks it's both, but Ruby added attitude, and from my couch I'd say so. St. Louis opened the scoring, Kyrou off boards to himself, crossed the ice to Shen, and he just ripped it top shelf. Interference on Krug, LA ties it at 1, and then 20 seconds later, grunts from under us is done. So how would you respond? Different conference bottom feeder took the lead as you just petered. How about giving up a 3 for now they're down 5-1, heading into the third, but Shen gets another. O'Reilly nets his first. The momentum had turned as Quick smashes his mask up, then on in offensive faceoff. Thomas just had to act up as he uses his hand to move the puck. That's illegal. Blues fold. Kings goal, win the game 6-3. So I still don't know if Husso is good, cause the team in front of him won't play like they should. Dunn's back in the doghouse, this we know for sure. The team plays like Mikola's skate blade, they just won't work. So let's keep it rolling. Benner back in the net. Vegas coaches have COVID, none are on the bench. For Petrangelo's first against his former team, and he got his first point in the for 317. I made a joke on Twitter wishing Perron good luck. People wanted him better, and I guess it stuck. He tied it up when Leonard didn't seal up the post. He got his second later with the power play goal, then it was Schwartz from Schenner for the 3-1 gap. But this is Vegas, where odds don't mean crap. Pacioretty from the slot makes it 3-2. Then the play of the year from Blue Kyrou. Petro at the point had his back turned to the play. Then the only back he saw was 25 skating away with the puck he once possessed. As he chased the speeding train, the poke check missed. He shot upstairs. Petros had threw back in dismay. Speaking of headshots, Stones must be full of rocks. That's a Bush League hit. Bozak's nowhere near the puck. Good thing Justin Falk fought him out of the box.
Hello, you've reached player safety. We're all out of the office.
And the calls just keep coming. We can't catch a break. Chief said penalties are penalties, but not this game. He had some words for the refs. Mostly let him play, cause a 5-on-3 goal. Saw him celebrate. Then they tied the game. Hat-trick Pacioretty played against him in 07. He was better than me, and there aren't too many games you give up 4 goals. Where the goalie is the story. Bennington stole the show. Perron and Shen would score in the shootout win. After the night's final shoot, couldn't tuck it in. Now about that trend of winning 1, not 2. Petro got COVID, game postponed to Anaheim. We flew. Man, it feels so good to watch a low-stress game. You know, the ones where everything just goes your way. I wasn't watching at 8. I was putting my kids to bed, so that's my excuse. What was the Ducks' defense? I feel like all my raps just mentioned Kyrou and Shen. Have you looked at the stats? It's just a lot of them. Kyrou 20 seconds in, Sanford just under a minute, Kyrou again 2:06. The 3 quickest in team history. It's a mystery how this happened to a goalie good as Gibby. I would not have guessed we'd get to see Ryan Miller this early. Yeah, the Blues had 3 goals before the Ducks had a shot. They would score late in the first, but the Blues would stay hot. We let up a little at the end of the first, but they came out in the second with a renewed burst. We got a goal from Perron, snap off the pipe and in, and a toe save from Benner at the other end. Clifford made it 5-1, a fighting goal from him. We even scored on the power play, much needed for Vince. So a comfortable win, we don't get them too often. Now I hope that my next rep has more Thomas and Hoffman.
And reviews are in already for Luke Widbin's latest hit, Kurt Price. This feels like the Drop Podcast show, but set to music. We're the Blues. We're a team that was founded on music, so it's only appropriate that we have music. By the way, I work in a kind of a semi-managerial capacity at KMOX, and next time Tom Ackerman flubs his lines, I'm going to tell him that you were just like Mikola's Skateblade. You just didn't work. And I will say I got that from our Minister of Music, Luke Widbin.
That would be awesome.
He probably. I don't think Tom. Actually, Tom would probably get a kick out of that. It's Tom's a hard guy to really knock off his game. So he's cool. He's cool.
He certainly is.
Yeah, and you've had him on your show a bunch of times. You know the greatness of Tom Ackerman. So, and by the way, he mentioned Shen and Kyrou and how well they've been playing, but you know what? I guess they're not Leon Draisaitl or Connor McDavid. Draisaitl has 6 assists tonight. McDavid a goal and 4 assists tonight. Kyrou, you've been playing well. 2 goals, Saturday night, but those are rookie numbers, kid. You got to pump those numbers up.
That you do. I mean, 6 assists through 2 periods. I mean, the third just started. I know the Canadian division isn't as strong as what some of Edmonton's opponents have been in their other seasons, but Edmonton might actually walk away with that division if they really want to.
Even Gretzky's looking at those 6 assists through 2 periods and is like, damn. Because that's incredible numbers. Draisaitl better than McDavid. You heard it here.
Yeah, and then Gretzky takes out the record book and goes, "Okay, I'm good."
Yeah, he's fine there. He's fine. The only record he's got to worry about the next couple of years is Ovi breaking his scoring record, which I think could happen because I think Ovechkin's going to be like Gordie Howe and plays until he's 50.
Probably.
Very possible. All righty, let's get down to business here, and that is St. Louis Blues business. Of course, we are recording this after the Sunday night game where the Blues win 4-1. They made it a little harrowing to start. It looked like that the second game curse was going to hit them again here. Jacob Silfverberg scoring on the power play to make it 1-0. There was a dumb penalty by Sammy Blais, and that goal was not Husso's fault. I posted the video of that. Actually, I got it from Thomas Welcher from the Locked On Blues. He tweeted that out. Husso had Falk and Raquel in front, and the puck kind of took a wacky bounce off the ice. I think it bounced off of Falk, and then it caromed off the ice and went over his left pad there. So you try stopping that, Husso haters. I would love to see you try. That was not Husso's fault, Wags.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it's a redirect off of Falk's shin pad down to the ice, and then once it hits the ice, you have no idea which way it's going to go. And we'll talk about this a little bit later. Colton Parayko's goal was kind of the same sort of thing for John Gibson tonight as well. When you've committed to making a save and the puck takes an unexpected turn, it's very, very difficult to stop those shots. That's why those highlight reel saves, if you rewind it back just a touch, it's because that puck has generally been redirected at some point. So
right.
I want to say that I can't remember which goalie said it, but I think it was Martin Brodeur who said, I don't want to make the flashy saves because that means I'm out of position and that means I'm not seeing the puck very well. When you see me make a great save, it's because something has gone wrong.
Right, exactly. And, Curtis Joseph, I just read his autobiography, and a lot of his game was anticipating where he thinks the puck might go, or based on video that he's seen, or just, from the various times he's played against like a Lindros or a Lemieux or, a Roenick, someone like that. But there are going to be, even he admits that there are times where the puck will take a weird bounce and just go by him. And, of course, Cujo was the kind of player where, he was very... he was like one of the original butterfly guys. So he would, often, get beat high shoulder because he would, play so low to the ice. But yeah, that's why you have got big guys in front of net and deflection specialists, because it's all about changing the angle on goalies as the puck is coming toward them. Goalies can take care of a straight line shot, generally speaking, but if it's dipping or it's rising or if it's getting deflected off a skate or another player, like we saw with Parayko tonight, goalies can't always react quickly to that. So really not Husso's fault there. And as Kurt Price of Let's Go Blues Radio, another shout out to them. I think I plugged them 3 times tonight. Hat trick. He pointed out to me on Twitter, it's lazy for Blues fans to constantly blame goaltending because it absolves them of having to look at the play deeper and notice other things collapsing besides the goalie. It's a very lazy way of looking at things, and it's got to stop, or every Blues goaltender is going to get the yips from this fan base.
Yeah, no question whatsoever. I mean, we want to lay blame on the goaltender because they are the last line of defense, essentially, and Kurt puts it right there. Too easy to just blame the goalie. But when you have breakdowns in front of the goaltender, that's not on them. I mean, they are the last line of defense. Yes, you want them to stop as many pucks as possible. But when you're giving guys clean looks, you go back to that 8-0 Colorado game. I mean, you left 3 of the top players in the league wide open in the slot. What were you expecting? I mean, they have their pick of the litter when it comes to punching the puck past them. That was a triple P there. But But that's the thing. I mean, if the defense breaks down in front of the goaltender, there's only so much they can do, and you can't lay that at their feet. And I just hope that, Jordan Binnington, Billy Husso, Joe Hofer, guys that come down the pipeline and get into St. Louis are treated with a little bit more respect than what we've done to other goaltenders, a la Jake Allen, and allow them to play the game and put the blame on other players when it's deserved. That's exactly the thing. If there's deserved criticism of a goaltender, fine. But when it's the result of a defender breaking down on defense, a forward not back checking, when it's any of those other things, you have to look deeper in the play.
Exactly right. And by the way, if you do a PPP in a podcast, do you get a forgivable business loan for that?
I don't know. I gotta call up. What is it? Ryan Kelly or something like that.
Oh yeah, the home loan expert.
Yeah.
There we go. Or JG Wentworth. It's my money and I want it now.
Oh no, I got that in my head now. Thank you.
There we go. Well, let's get some Blues hockey back into it here. First of all, a shout out from a Facebook user, obviously listening from the Bluenotes bunch. Love that y'all are doing video with audio. Makes a difference for me. Y'all are so knowledgeable. Well, thank you for that. Unfortunately, StreamYard doesn't let me see who is actually saying this. I'll find out later. But thank you so much. New fan in the last few years. Takes a while to get it. So that's a fair point. Hockey is a very complex game, and you can't. The Occam's razor doesn't always work when it comes to analyzing hockey plays, and in this case, Occam's razor would be blaming the goalie for everything. Yeah. So yeah, it just doesn't work. As Guy points out, Dunn and McCullough were good again tonight. We'll get to that here in just a little bit here, but I want to kind of continue on here throughout the game. So. If you want, don't blame Husso. If you want to blame dumb penalties being an issue, that's fine. Although, really, after the first period, the Blues cleaned up their act. So it was kind of a soft game. The John Kelly and Darren Payne kind of pointed out that they were kind of surprised it wasn't as physical tonight, being that it was the second game of two. But they also pointed out that's probably not just the Ducks style, which is kind of makes sense. The Blues also had issues exiting their zone tonight. That's kind of been an issue all season long with these defenders. It's like a calculus puzzle, every time they, get the puck out of their own zone. It's really strange issue they're having this year, Wags.
Well, and honestly, it's something that has plagued them the last couple of years as well. Even the year that they won the Stanley Cup, early on in the season, that was one of the biggest gripes of me, was getting the puck out of the zone. I mean, that's how you start your entire rush, is getting it out of the zone. And when you are struggling to do that, you're going to be put into some bad positions. And we're starting to see that a little bit this year. But so far, they've been able to kind of weather that storm. If you continue down this pathway, though, when you start to see teams like Colorado and Vegas even more, and really even Arizona potentially as well, teams that can really hurt you with cycling the puck, it may not end well for them.
Yeah, exactly. And it's not going to end well usually for teams, but they only have 3 shots in a period. But that's what the Blues had after one. And, I was starting to think about, what is it about game twos in a series that, the Blues get tired. They look tired, which is weird because they only had 3 players go over 20 minutes in game one. And that was Scandella, Falk, and Krug. And they had 3 days of rest prior to, game one. So it's like they shouldn't be tired. And then I noted that there was only 7 shots after 28 minutes of play, and that's just not going to cut it either. And then right after I typed that note, Braden Shen scored on a very nice shot pass from Falk. Beautiful setup, beautiful goal. And this is why we have the Justin Falk Stan Club.
Yeah, and you could feel that goal coming. At that point, within the minute or two before that, you really started to feel the tide was turning a little bit. The Blues were putting pressure in the zone. They got the forecheck working. They were able to cycle the puck a little bit in the zone. And really, I can't believe I'm saying it, but you got the puck to one of the most dangerous offensive players on this team right now, and that's Justin Falk. He's seeing the ice so well. He's making the right plays. He's got his head up. That's the huge thing. It seemed like last year his head was down a lot. He was kind of more concerned with where he was at on the ice and what he was doing with the puck. Now you see him, he's got his head up, he's searching, he's scanning the ice, and he not only found the hottest player on the Blues right now, but one of the hottest in the league in Braden Shen, 7-game point streak, 5 goals on the year, tied for the team lead in points.
Yeah.
That's how you go out and win games.
I remember this time last year I was doing Shen shots when Shen would score, and I swore he was going to destroy my liver last season just because of the rate of goals that he was getting early on. Thankfully, I don't do that anymore. I actually have to be at work technically in 4 or 5 hours, so I probably shouldn't be doing that anyway. So anyway, but I do it for the game. I do it for the love of the game, damn it. By the way, going back to Luke's initial idea of a parody for Amish Paradise, I would suggest, that we are actually living in Justin's paradise, Justin Falk's paradise.
There's another one.
So maybe we get Falk some love this time. I don't know if Robert Thomas has been worthy of a song yet this year. He's been kind of quiet.
He hasn't put the points up, but his abilities with the puck have been something to be admired.
I refuse to go to bed, by the way, Mr. Facebook user. I've never played hockey, but I'm a hockey fan, and you tough it through. You tough it through the pain to do what we do here. So, all right. So Shen gets his goal from Falk, and then Husso with a big save. The Blues defense did what they like to do occasionally this year and just completely collapse. And the Ducks get a 2-on-0 chance. And that was the save that the Blues fans have been looking for, including the haters. And I'm hoping that shuts up some haters that were ready to strand him on an ice floe and push him out to sea. I really hope this shuts them up, but it's Blues fans, so you never really know.
Well, I mean, once he gives up another soft goal like Jake Allen, then they're going to be right back going, see. But, we were talking about this on my other show. The game against LA, it was his first start at home. He's got to have nerves, no question. Now he's got his first road start. And yes, it's against Anaheim, but he had to have nerves. He hasn't gotten that first win yet. Now that he's got his first win, that's off his back. He can go out there and just play free and loose how he wants to. And Ville Husso's dealt with injuries. Ville Husso's dealt with inconsistency in his career. But when Ville Husso is on, Ville Husso is damn good. And I think getting that first win, making that save, which, yes, you look at it and you go, okay, yeah, the Ducks player whiffed on it, hit him in the midsection, a little lower than the midsection. It wasn't like a huge save, but it still was an important save. And that's, I think, the big key difference is it's a big save, but it's more importantly, it's an important save. It kept the game tied. And as I think you're alluding to, it led to something even bigger.
It did. And by the way, I'm glad Husso decided to wear his cup tonight. That's all I can say, because that one went right into the baby makers. Good forechecking leads to a Sammy Blais goal to make it 2-1 Blues. See what good forechecking does for you? The Blues had not shown that at all game. There's no momentum in the Ducks zone at all. And then all of a sudden, good pressure. Blais keeps the puck alive deep into the Ducks zone. And then he finds himself in the slot where, all the money's made and gets a goal. So a good, hard-working goal there.
Yeah, and guess who got him the puck, too? It was the assist man, Mike Hoffman. What?
Is
that what we signed him for?
The great passer, Mike Hoffman. Yeah.
That's his third assist. I mean, we brought him in to score goals, but he's been playing pretty well.
Well, he has scored goals. He scored 2 goals in the blue-white scrimmage, before the season started. Is that all we're going to get from him? I hope not. I mean,
no. He's a streaky goal scorer, as we've talked about in the past. And once he starts getting a couple, watch out, because he will go in spurts.
Yeah, with Hoffman, I kid, but I don't think it's not for lack of effort that he's not scoring. It just hasn't clicked for him yet with him and Thomas, and you've got to wonder if that gets broken up anytime soon. Although Sanford looked good, I was proposing maybe swapping Hoffman and Sanford in the lineup, but Sanford looked pretty good as well. So this weekend. So I don't know.
Wait for Tyler Bozak to come back. Once Tyler Bozak comes back, he can slot him back on that third line and kind of move Mike Hoffman where you need to. I think that's the biggest thing is right now with Bozak being out, you kind of have to stick with the status quo, but once he's back, then you might see Mike Hoffman jump back up into the top 6.
And I'm so sad Mark Stone did not get a chance to get his receipt for that Thursday.
It's just building up.
I guess Kyrou torched Petro so bad that Petro got COVID out of it. So that's
someone who put it out there. He got coronavirus.
Coronavirus. Yep, there we go. Kairu 25. That's what we're gonna call him now. Kairu 25. He is so good. He is a virus. So the Blues pressure keeps up, and they get another goal from Shen, and then Parayko gets on the board to extend the lead 4-1 and give Husso some cushion. Not that he really needed it. I don't think the Ducks really threatened Husso much after as the game went on, but really glad to see Parayko firing the puck and getting some dividends out of it. He's a guy, he's got a cannon of a shot, and we've just been begging him to break it out, kind of like being a McInnes slide, if you will. He's been kind of hesitant over the years to do it, but I'm glad he appears to be firing the puck more and more this year.
Yeah, and it wasn't even a slap shot that scored the goal. It was just kind of a lazy wrist shot, deflected off of a Ducks player, and then bounced underneath. Gibson didn't even react to it until it was like under his pads. And yeah, unassisted goal right now. I've been a big touter of Parayko for the last few years. I think he's going to be a great defenseman in the years to come. I've been a little underwhelmed with his production this year, not just offensively, but defensively. He's looked about a step behind in a lot of games this year, and it's a little worrisome, but I also look at it and go, we've basically thrust him into that next guy number one role, even though I think Justin Falk and Torrey Kruger, the guys that are the number ones, we've kind of put that pressure on him, and we see this all the time. First year, a guy gets this kind of pressure put on him, he presses, he struggles a little bit. It's a contract year a first year contract situation as well. I expect in a couple weeks that we'll start to see him round into the Colton Parayko of old. Yeah. And I mean, maybe Kurt's right, maybe he is hurt, but I mean, if he is, he's hiding it decently well, and I just hope that nothing does come out that he actually is, because that would be very, very bad for the Blues right now.
Well, no real suspects tonight on the Blues defense that he can point to and say bad game, including Vince Dunn, by the way. He was quiet, which I guess is a good thing for him. But two guys jumped out to me. Number one, as we talked about, Justin Falk. He had another solid game. He's been very physical this year. I pointed that out Thursday. His hits are way up this year compared to where they were last year. He was playing kind of softer and a little more timid last year, but historically, he's a hitter. He's a physical player, and he's been laying the wood on some players this year. In fact, he told Comtoy to go get a shine box in the third period in front of the Blues bench. And then my boy, Nico Mikkola, again, solid game from him, looked poised, thought he got his second NHL point of the night, but I guess they're not giving it to him. I think that's the one that you were referring to about the unassisted one. And then, of course, Mikkola was Vince Dunn's partner. And I guess the fact that we didn't notice Vince Dunn tonight meant that we didn't notice the Dunn haters tonight either.
We really didn't. I mean, I will say this. I'm not a Dunn hater, but I'm definitely not a Dunn super fan.
I'm a Dunn suspect, basically.
He did put the puck into some guys' skates on a power play again, and the puck started going the other way. And once again, it comes down to those little minute details that if you're wanting to be a better defender, a higher ranking defender, you got to make those plays when you're on the power play. Don't let the puck exit the zone. But yeah, he had a great game tonight. He did have a couple of shots on near the net, nothing on the net per se. And defensively, yeah, he looked pretty good. And having a guy like Mikkola, I mean, we talk about Colton Parayko. I've likened Mikkola to kind of like a Parayko light. He's another guy that's got some size to him. He's got some speed. He's got some offensive capabilities. He's a solid all-around decent defender. So pairing him with a Dunn, he can make up for some of Dunn's mistakes. And Mikkola made a couple tonight as well, but he recovered and he got the puck back. That was the key thing. Sometimes you see these young defenders, they make a mistake and they kind of bow their head and don't get back into the play. Mikkola didn't do that. And that's another sign that he is going to be something to watch for the next couple of years.
Yeah, and as Kurt points out, Dunn is a high-risk, high-reward guy, slower to mature maybe, and he's 24 years old, so I guess you can say he's still got some maturing to do, although he's been in the league for a few years, so it's like the clock's kind of ticking on him. And then as for Mikkola goes, I mean, I kind of see, every time I see Mikkola, I'm reminded of Bryce Salvador. Salvador was a steady defensive defenseman who was physical, may not be an offensive dynamo, although I think Mikkola's got more offensive upside than Salvador. But he just, to me, Mikkola just has the makings of that really steady, solid mid to bottom pairing defensemen that you tend to maybe take for granted a bit on teams. Nothing about McCullough suggests that he is going to be a flame out or a bust or anything like that. I've been very high on McCullough, and I'm glad to see him getting a shot. And I think even when Bortuzzo comes back, it's going to be hard to keep McCullough out of the lineup. I think he has earned a spot in this top 6.
It all comes down to trust. And when you can trust a guy at that age with some of the responsibilities that he's been entrusted with right now, basically being Dunn's backside, that speaks volumes. And you're right. When Bortuzzo comes back, it's going to be really hard to slot him into the lineup in place of McCullough. You're going to give him a chance to get some off days, obviously, but I think he's doing enough right now to say, I'm in the lineup every night.
By the way, if you look behind me over here, you may notice a couple of sticks there in the corner. One's a Rick Nash stick that I got from my friend Andy Hammond. He is one of the hosts of the Broadway Boys podcast on the Hockey Podcast Network. I traded a hockey jersey for it because it's me. But then also during the Blues equipment sale, before the season, they had a Nico McCullough stick for $75. It was the cheapest game use stick that they had. And I'm a McCullough believer, so it's like, yeah, I had to get that. So I think McCullough is there on the right side. It's the taller of the two because McCullough is indeed a big boy. So let's go ahead and talk about his line mate, or I guess his partner mate, Vince Dunn. And to do that, we are going to have Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, go into what to do with Vince Dunn. That is the subject of his Aloha commentary this week. And let's go ahead and go out to Honolulu, Hawaii.
And now, from Honolulu, Hawaii, via St. Louis, starting in the Pacific Ocean, Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan.
Aloha, and welcome to the Bluenotes podcast. I'm Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, host of the Blue Note Fan Report, main writer on STLFanreport.com, and this is my Aloha Commentary. Dun, 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 dun. What do you do about dun, dun, dun? That's right. Dun, dun, dun. Boy, am I in a bad sequel? It was Petro, Petro, Petro. Now it's dun, dun, dun. Okay, so yesterday, Dunn had an amazing game on Saturday. Wow, him and Mikkola worked so good together. He may have just played himself onto another team. What? Yes, think about this. When you try and trade a player that has had a rough spot, it's hard to trade them for what you think they're worth. Their value drops. Dunn, value went up. He had an incredibly good game with Mikkola. Good enough to keep him on the team? I don't know. There's something else that affects that, and we'll talk about that later. Dunn is a young, aggressive defenseman. He's offensive-minded. He can score goals. He makes rookie mistakes. He's a 3-year guy. It's confusing. Armstrong wants a first, or he wants a very high second and a player, a prospect. I get that. I think that's exactly what Dunn's worth. I think Dunn is worth the first. I think Dunn is worth the first and a prospect, to be honest with you. Here's a Stanley Cup winning defenseman. Plain and simple. Sometimes coaches are very, very set in their ways. And when they're set in their ways, it prevents them from adapting. And there's one thing with coaching that I think more coaches need to understand. And I'll tell you what, the two of them that I think understood it the most are the two that are at the top of the coaching list. And the two that I think understood this principle the most are Scotty Bowman and Joel Quenneville. And the principle is, you have to be a poker player or a chess player. You have to realize what your other person's strategy is and adjust and then adapt to it and attack it. That is the sign of a great coach. You attack it. It's how Herb Brooks beat the Russians in 1980. They didn't defend it, they attacked it. They shoved the Russians' own game down their throat. That's what the Blues like to do sometimes. However, they do it in a mediocre way. And I don't want to say mediocre, passive way. I think passive way is the better way to describe it. They try and use their defense to create offense. That's great. They're a heavy team. That's great too. But they're lacking something. They're lacking the one thing that would allow them to beat Colorado on a regular night, allow them to beat Arizona on a day-in, day-out basis, and allow them to beat Vegas on a day-in, day-out basis. And that is the one thing that John Madden used to say, you can't teach it, you can't ingrain it, you better well draft it. And that's speed. That's right, speed. Dunn has speed. Jordan Kyrou has speed. Robert Thomas has speed. These guys are using that speed. Kyrou, keep it up. You are going to be a superstar. You have that making. You're the replacement for Tarasenko. As Tarasenko gets older, it's going to happen. You got to have that sniper come in. You're it. Use that speed and learn your shot, because it's getting better by the game. By the game. I can see you getting 25 to 30 goals this year if you just keep doing what you're doing. Again, and it gets me back to, so what do you do about Dunn? Well, there's an important piece coming in here that I think everyone, we know about it, but we're not concerned about it, we're not looking at it. But simply this, yesterday on Instagram, Tarasenko posted him in skates, ready to get on the ice. When T comes back, when Tank comes back, you've got to make some room. You need a little bit of money too. You have Mikkola, you have Petrovic, or however you say his name, you have Walm. You have other defensemen that you can bring up. Bortuzzo's close to coming back, though Bortuzzo's slow. Bortuzzo and Gunderson are at the end of their careers. Sorry, but you have defensemen that are coming up. I really think that if you could trade Gunderman or Bortuzzo, that's what you would do, but you're going to get more for Dunn. I mean, it's simple as this. You have to continually make your team better. And we have a lot of money coming off the books, or money that has to be respent in higher values coming up with players' contracts. You cannot look right here, right now. You have to be a chess player and look 3 moves ahead. The coach has to be a poker player and see what his opponent is doing and adjust to it. The GM's got to be the chess player. Think 3 to 4 moves ahead and 3 years ahead. I think Armstrong's done a great job at that, and the window is wide open. So what do you do about Dunn? I think the smartest thing to do about Dunn is nothing. Let it happen naturally. You don't need to shop him anymore. You let him keep playing. He keeps playing like that, they're going to come to you. He keeps playing like that, they're going to come to you with bigger and better offers. If they don't, and he keeps playing like that, win-win. So, my Aloha Commentary is, what do you do about Dunn? Nothing. So this is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, throwing it to Tom and Wags and saying, don't forget to like and subscribe to the Bluenotes podcast, the Hawaii Oh man, I can't even remember who I am, to the Blue Note Fan Report on YouTube. And please check out my blog, my website, stlfanreport.com, because I'm by a fan for the fan, and you got to know all about you, the fan. This is Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, saying aloha, mahalo, and you got to know that I am bleeding blue with you. Back to you, Tom and Wags.
And much mahalo to Guy, the Hawaii Blues fan, for that report. And by the way, I want to plug stlfanreport.com, his website, because next month he has a Brett Hall signed jersey up for grabs in the Blues Pick'em contest. You pick the score of the game, and you pick whoever's going to get the most goals or points or saves in the game. And if you have the most points at the end of the month, you get a prize. This month was a Jordan Binnington signed mini helmet. Next month is going to be a Brett Hall jersey. And Wags, you and I are both Brett Hall lovers for life, so I expect us to be gunning for that next month.
I'm going to drop you like a rock for that.
You know what? I may let you, because I'm already rocking a hole tonight, so, I can't have more than one hole, right? Right?
Yeah, say that to Bobby.
Good point. Well, it's time to leave the Ducks in the dust. We've got our 4 points from them, and we're going to look ahead to the Arizona Coyotes. The Blues take them on Tuesday and Thursday this week, and we need to get a preview of the Coyotes. And with that, we're going to bring in Cori Crenshaw from the Sporty with Cori show right about now.
It's the Bluenotes Face-Off of the Week.
And that beautiful NHL 94 music means it is time for our Bluenotes Face-Off of the Week. And we have the aforementioned Cori Crenshaw from Sporty with Cori and Richie from beautiful Phoenix, Arizona. How's it going tonight, Cori?
It is going great, and it is beautiful. I think it's like 74 degrees today or something like that. It is gorgeous here.
Better than it is here. Yeah, it's snowed here. It's been kind of cold. It's been like in the mid to upper 30s, just that kind of nasty, dank, kind of rainy season here in St. Louis. Wish I could be in Phoenix right now. Honestly, I'm not going to lie. So the Coyotes, let's talk about them this season. So the Coyotes come into this week 7th in the West. But there is one thing that I feel the Coyotes are the best in the league at, bar none. And I have to point it out with us having the Jersey Finder on our podcast this Thursday. And that is the reverse retro purple peyote. The Blues will get to see that February 13th. In my opinion, the best reverse retro this year, hands down, slam dunk, not a contest. Explain the history of this jersey and why it's so damn good, Cori.
It's so damn good because you get to bring back the purple, and I felt like that was one of the things that was really missing from all of Arizona sports because the purple used to be the staple of basically every Arizona sport. Like the D-backs used to be purple. They've had their third Throwback Thursdays where they bring back the purple. It was outside of the Rockies, like that was kind of the only team that any Arizona teams would play that had purple in their jerseys. So it set them apart. And then when they went to red, it just kind of made them blend in with everyone else. So it didn't really give them some type of originality. So it was really nice for them to go back to the purple again, because I missed it. I missed it so much, and it's so great to see. I'm so excited to be able to see these on the ice. I'm chomping at the bit for it.
Well, the Blues are going to be the first team that they get to wear those against on the 13th. And this is our first chance to officially thank you as well for taking out our Nashville rivals in the playoffs. And next season, there'll be your rivals too. When we talked to you last, you and Richie both seemed to hate the idea of playing in the Central. Has that changed at all?
It has changed a little bit because of World Juniors. I see what is coming up the pipeline for the Kings and the Ducks, and now I'm a little bit nervous. And I'm thinking this might be a better idea than I ever thought before. So I'm starting to take back a little bit on my rants. I've still gone on a rant. Like, I still argued with the guys from Vegas in the fact that I still think that it's them that should be sent over into the Central Division, considering the way that they have been playing and how, here in Arizona, we've spent so much time basically building this organization that to just move them while they're struggling as they are, it's basically kind of insult to injury, is almost kind of rude. But for them, they're doing fine. They have the capabilities of moving, and they wanted to go geographical with me, but I mean, does any of it actually make geographical sense? No. So I didn't think that was a good enough argument.
And it's unfortunate for you guys. It seems like you're kind of a victim here. And we were kind of hoping. First, I was hoping for Vegas because airfare to Vegas is very cheap. From St. Louis. But then they signed Petrangelo and those douche canoes that Weekly Nightly like to remind us that they have Petro and we don't. So
who's in first right now?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And who has COVID right now? Exactly. So. There we go.
A very unfortunate cancellation for you guys.
Oh, it was. I wanted to see Mark Stone get his receipt for taking out Tyler Bozak. I mean, I know Justin Falk fought him, but NHL players' safety, apparently just taking the year off this year. No discipline for him. He was due for a hurt on Thursday. And you don't like to advocate headhunting like that, but it's just, yeah, Blues fans were very disappointed that game was postponed, but it's postponed, not canceled. We'll get them another date, and we don't forget things like that. That's for sure. So back to the Coyotes. You had a busy offseason, and it started right up at the top. You took our assistant GM, Bill Armstrong, to take over for John Chayka, and on all that drama. We don't need to really cover that here, but what we want to know is, what are the early reviews on Bill Armstrong in Arizona?
I like him so far. He's worked really hard. The saying that's been kind of coming out of all of this is the fact that he hasn't really seen much outside of the four walls that is his office. And so when he finally got to get out and see them practicing on the ice, he was ecstatic because he forgot that at some point he was going to actually get to watch some hockey. So that type of commitment, I think, coming here is a big deal in the fact that he kind of just said that he wasn't here for a tan and that he was just basically here for a job, and that's what he wanted, to make this team as best he could. And I think the additions he made were great with what he had, considering the fact that he was thrown into the fire. Like, it was a complete shit show when he came here, whether any of us like to admit it or not. And so with a team that was finishing the season subpar and losing people like Taylor Hall, and then not having any draft picks is a rough way to go in as a GM off the top. But he made some really good bottom six changes to this lineup, and I think it really helped from a grit standpoint. It's not helping from a finishing standpoint. The Coyotes still can't finish to save their lives, but I think it did really help in that regard. If I had one big critique, it is the fact that he likes to use these corny puns. Like when he brought in those people for the bottom six, he had to say that they are prickly and use a bunch of other cactus puns that I don't even remember. I've tried to wash it all from my memory.
Oh, but Dad.
The moment he comes to Arizona, he starts using cactus puns, and now I'm like, okay, let's take a step back there and reassess how you're gonna present this to everyone. Because for most of us, cactus is part of our everyday life, so we know that they're very prickly and whatever else he said. I still don't remember the rest other than prickly because I can't.
Well, Wags, they've got cactus and we've got crappy thin crust pizza, so I mean, it's just I totally get her pain.
Oh, most definitely. And are we going to get banned from St. Louis for saying emos is crappy?
I didn't see. You said emos. I just said the genre itself was crappy. You're the one that's going to get in trouble from emos, there, bud.
Yeah, I'm never going to be in an emos commercial. I'll put it that way.
No.
Cori, you mentioned that you guys did lose Taylor Hall this off season after acquiring him mid-season, really for some pretty strong assets. How big of a blow was that to the team coming into this year?
So obviously it's a blow on the fact of, this team needs a Barry, and they have a really hard problem with that. He didn't particularly produce the way that I thought he would when he came here. he also kind of had a negative effect on the team where everyone kind of started backing off as soon as he came. The first game, it was all kind of like they were a bunch of teenage boys and a really attractive girl walked in the room. Like they were all just like wanting to do as much as they could for him and show him how great they were. And then they started getting lazy and allowing him to take the reins. And so that was kind of their big problem when he came. And he didn't really produce the way that we all thought he would. And so between that and then the fact that we knew he was going to, which is funny, we knew that he wanted to go somewhere where he was going to win a cup. The decisions he made after that are quite questionable, but we didn't have the money to pay him anyways because the cap space just wasn't there. With all of the other problems, the cap space was also a massive problem. So one of the things that Armstrong has done pretty well is try and make some cap space. One of them being by moving out Derek Stepan. I was kind of hoping that Oliver Ekman-Larsson during the offseason could get moved because of his massive cap that he's taking up. But now currently he's finally like on the ice again, but he's been injured and I'm surprised to say this, but him being gone has actually been noticed a bit.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely notice a guy like Hall that's not in your lineup. By the way, Wags, we've been called out. Our pizza palate is obviously lacking, for not liking thin crust.
It's not the thin crust; it's the cheese, or
that's right,
or what they call cheese.
Cheese, which is really lab grown mush called Provel. It's not good.
We're gonna have to send a thin crust pizza to everybody in the network just so they can see how crappy it is.
Send them the real signature St. Louis food, toasted ravioli. Okay, we can be proud of toasted ravioli. Okay, not Provel cheese, thin cracker crust bullshit. Anyway, so it was kind of a rough off season in general. We talked about losing Hall, the GM issues. You mentioned Ekman-Larsson was trade bait for a while. Darcy Kemper was kind of being rumored as being trade bait as well. You lost your first rounder, and then you drafted Mitchell Miller, then renounced him because it turns out he's an asshole and a bigot. So all four of us, despite all that, all four of us here at Bluenotes, for some reason, picked the Coyotes to finish fourth and get into the playoffs. I'm still a believer in the Coyotes, by the way. I think the talent's there. It just as you said, you kind of pointed out they have issues finishing. It just feels like there's something missing with this team. But with all that's happened this offseason, do you feel the playoffs are still a possibility, or do you think there's still too much disarray from the offseason?
I think it's a possibility if they play that the way that they're supposed to. I've been harping on Clayton Keller for the mostly every game this season. I'm trying to think of a game where I wasn't kind of disappointed in his play, but for almost every single one of them, I've been harping on him and the fact that they have provided him with a line now where there is a lot more grit to give him that space in order to be able to be a finisher, and he's gotten ample opportunities and has not been able to bury, and that's been super frustrating because that's what's needed on this team, and that was kind of where they wanted to put him. He's more playmaker. It's not really his style, but he definitely needs to step up in that way. And there's a lot of guys on this team that really need to step up, and the fact that you can get production out of all six, out of all of the forwards on the team. And so I just really think that I really think that if they can actually produce and they can get it's difficult because we always say that they're this young team and this team that always goes through these roller coasters. But the problem is they just have a softness about them that makes you really just not want to root for them. And sometimes because of the fact that you almost feel like they're giving up. And so that is kind of like the game, the last game against the Knights. There's four of them, so they're starting to all blur together in my head. The last game, there was the no call on the icing, which was the game that they lost 0-1. So that game went into the first game against the Ducks, and you could completely see it 100% because of the fact that they felt so defeated from the previous game. They didn't particularly show up for the next one. And it was that frustration that carried them through, and it didn't help that they were playing Gibson, obviously, and who's always been kind of a thorn in their side. There wasn't really much rest to the Ducks team. They were kind of dominating them on the ice the entire rest of the time, but they were not able to vary the entire game. So it's those type of mental issues that will be the thorn in their side from here on out. But I'm really hoping they can get over those hurdles and make it to the playoffs, because they can do it if they actually applied themselves. It's the fact that they don't. I keep on telling everyone it's like like an angry parent. Like, I just want you to apply yourself. Like, I know you can get good grades. Just do the work. Like, do the assignment where all you gotta do is write your name on it and turn it in. Like, that's the shit that they need to do. Just finishing checks, and really the tiny little things. Like Richie and I talked about it on our episode that's dropping on Monday, is the fact that I just want to see them try and get under people's skin. Connor Garland did a great job with this and got Gibson to literally jump out of the crease and attack him on the ice. So if they can just have more of that and just some little things here and there to really push them over the edge, that will get them in the playoffs. And that's the type of team we kind of want to see. We want them to be on this kind of upward trajectory.
So we have learned that St. Louis has two overpriced, disappointing exports. That is Provel cheese and Clayton Keller.
He is another one that I keep on saying is like I'm like a parent with him. Like I root for him to do well, but I get on him for the fact that he is so disappointing. Like, he is high key disappointing. And I don't know if you guys need to rally some like hometown spirit of some sort, but I know you probably won't do it before the games against us, obviously. But I mean, past that, we need something, because he's not performing up to the caliber that the team has wanted for his long-term contract.
Yeah, we'll put together a care package that we can give him on their way out. Something that reminds him of home that he can take with him, because what's Swansea, Illinois known for? Not much. So
exactly.
You mentioned your frustrations with Clayton Keller. Coyotes fans been waiting for him to take that next step, and he hasn't. He carries that big cap hit. What really is the future for Clayton Keller in Arizona?
I'm kind of uncertain in that, and the fact that it's kind of interesting that there's been certain players. I think before him was probably Max Domi. Like, Max Domi, I thought was going to be. I had got my boyfriend a jersey because I thought he was going to be the next captain of the Coyotes at that point in time. Like, I had my Shane Doan one. He was going to have the Domi one. It was going to be like captain, and then the next captain, no, completely like traded him and decided they're moving on from that. And then Clayton Keller came in, and he was supposed to be their new superstar. He was supposed to be, a Patrick Kane or a Taylor Hall, they were expecting big things out of him, and they expected him to be a brand name, and it just never happened. I think everyone thought that when he got, when the reason why he got this contract is because they thought over the years he would develop, and that he had just kind of gone through a little bit of a slump. And I just don't think he's ever going to develop out the way that they thought he would. And I think a lot of that has to do with Chaika's analytics way of looking at it. I think if you really would have looked at him as like a person, as a player, that he would have seen it rather than looking at his analytics.
So Kurt Price noting that we have this to St. Louis institution and now Illinois. In case you haven't watched us, Kurt, before, we are two-way forwards here on Bluenotes. We will trash both Missouri and Illinois. We have no problem doing that. So
equal opportunity trashers.
You took the words out of my mouth. Exactly right. Got to be fair to all sides. So now with all that said, going into the games this week, what do you feel the Coyotes' biggest strength is? Like, if the Coyotes end up winning one or two games against the Blues, they'll have done so because
of the fact that they can actually finish. Like, they are a solid team if they can, because they will play on like both ends of the ice. They will play solid, and it will be a great game, but you will never see them take solid shots. They will all be perimeter shots that will be flung at the net, and that's when you know that they aren't actually working their systems, actually setting up the way that they're supposed to. And I don't know if it's a mentality thing, if it's a fluster thing. I do think that there is a problem with their stamina necessarily, because whenever they play heavy teams, they seem to start out really aggressive and then deteriorate throughout the period. And then they'll come back the next period and again start out strong and then deteriorate. They don't really have an ability to play a full 60 minutes solid. So it will be that if they can play a strong full game of hockey, and if they can actually score goals for once in their godforsaken lives.
So wait a second, not playing a full 60 minutes. That's very reminiscent of what the Blues were like for the last couple of years. That's really,
Very
really
familiar.
Odd. Very
Yeah.
familiar.
Yeah.
Well, for the Blues, their biggest weakness is they take penalties and they can't seem to stop. If the Blues are going to exploit something with the Coyotes, what would that be?
They're going to frustrate them in any way possible, honestly. Because as soon as it was funny because I told Richie that he jinxed us when it came to, we were on the Quack Report, and he had said that the only way that the Ducks would beat the Coyotes is if they frustrated them by like not letting them score. And that is accurate to what happened in the first game. But between that, I think it's also when they play up against guys that, like when they're playing Ryan Reeves, he's in your face, he's annoying, and he can get very frustrating. They don't, like I said, come off very soft sometimes, and that's the problem. Is if they get laid into and they start getting really frustrated, they start to crumble. They have a hard time coming back in games anymore. That was one of the problems that that coming in as a new GM, he decided that he was going to basically call all of them and over conference calls, basically tell them, hey, I want you all to be basically less soft, and I want you to be able to come back in these games where you were behind on, because that was the biggest issue last season. And so I'm glad that that was addressed to them, but you haven't actually seen that translate on the ice. And like I said, the fact they can't play full 60 minutes, like I saw some really good starts to their games against Vegas, but Vegas wore them down and they couldn't finish it out. So if they come and start out really hard against the Coyotes and tire them down, that will also be a great way. So actually, there's a few different ways to basically beat the Coyotes. There's a lot of soft points in their game right now. I'm just hoping that the Coyotes come out stronger than they have in these last couple games.
Well, Kurt knows that not playing a full, consistent 60 minutes is an issue for just about every team. And it's a thing to do when your opponent is making adjustments. So that's a good thing to know. By the way, Kurt, we got to talk about this comment here. So Kurt calls us the Josh Hawleys of the St. Louis Blues podcast. Wags, I think that's a bannable offense, right?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that is.
Yeah. Well, you're
for us or for Kurt?
No, for Kurt. I mean, that's some like 5-minute major sit in the penalty box shit for Kurt right there. Nah, we ain't doing that. We ain't doing that.
Hey,
all right, back.
We got sent to the penalty box for chirping. So
by who?
So Connor Garland, when he was chirping Gibson, so Gibson jumped on him, and Connor Garland got a coincidental penalty for it.
I thought like we
didn't start the entire. All he did was talk shit, and then he got a penalty for it. So
I thought you were saying like you got put in the penalty box like from Weekly Nightly or something like that for calling them.
Oh
douche
no,
canoes.
I said if it I had to go through a whole thing with my, and also they are in the douche canoe. They are not a douche canoe. I had to explain that.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So
okay,
they're in the canoe like rowing along together. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that makes sense. Back to hockey, and less canoeing. So is there, Coyotes have had a lot of good young talent, coming up. A lot of their forward core, a lot of their defensive cores, on the younger side. Is there, here in St. Louis, we have had Jordan Kyrou kind of come out of nowhere. I mean, we knew he was a prospect, but he has exploded this year. He has been a point per game guy this year, scoring goals, adding assists, just breaking out this year. Is there anyone like that for the Coyotes this year that's expected to make a big leap this year?
Someone I think actually we didn't expect to make a big leap and is making a big leap is Connor Garland. He's playing far better of a game than I think any of us expected to play this season. He's really fun to watch, and he's just been playing really well. He has contributed on all ends of the ice. He is getting under people's skin all the time. He's putting in extra effort. He's literally the only person on the team that's constantly trying to get into a fight with people, while also holding the top spot with, I think, Dvorak for the most points on the team. So he has really been the one that's been producing the most, and he's turned into quite the little shit, and I'm pretty proud of it.
Oh, speaking of shits, we've tried to get our West Division guest to drop a diss track against another team or podcast. No one's taken the bait yet because everyone we talked to is either Canadian or Nick Floor. They're just way too nice. But we've already touched on the douche canoe thing with Weekly Nightly. Do you want to put Weekly Nightly on blast again, or is there another team or podcast that you're just willing and wanting to call out?
Come on, this is your Connor Garland moment right here.
Well, that's what I went through a lot with Weekly Nightly. Like, we have gone through so much shit talking as of recent.
You have seen some shit.
Comment. Yeah, we had to like calm it down because it went back and forth. Like I literally, I think, got Eric on their podcast to say what the fuck, like, because he was so mad. And
Eric gets feisty though. He gets feisty.
Yeah, and that's the funny part is, like, I get feisty, but like normally, like, when it comes to these situations, I'm very sarcastic. So I sometimes forget I had to like message Dave and be like, hey, so I am not trying to be mean. And then when it came to the whole icing situation, they were all very feisty with people online about the fact that they believed it was icing. I still think it's a very questionable call, and that it's like, if you were to say one way or the other, I kind of went off on our podcast saying that it's complete bullshit. Like, honestly, it's complete bullshit if you think that it was for sure icing or for sure not icing, because you can't tell. And they were posting these like bogus ass photos where it was like this blurry screenshot, and they're like, oh look, you can see the puck right there. It looks like a black blob. You don't know if it's
that must have been Carlo.
Blade or so. I was like, I had to say on our podcast like 4 times, this is not me attacking Vegas Nightly. This is not me, because they have like goons, y'all. They do goons that come out and they just, it's like unleash the what is it, the flying monkeys from from the Wizard of Oz, and their flying monkeys come and attack everyone.
Oh my God.
Insane. They had people. There was a person who had said something to them about not knowing hockey, and they annihilated the person. Like, they blocked not just them, but like all of their followers.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad we're not getting Vegas in the Central now. Good Lord. Good
It
Lord.
is dark.
Good luck, San Jose and LA.
Damn. Well, alrighty. Let's end this on a lighter note here. And you mentioned icing earlier. You've started you've started issuing cupcake challenges to other podcasts in our network. So what brought this about, and is it going to be our turn soon?
Absolutely. Like I said, I would love to get you guys on the podcast. Of course, the next episode, for whatever god-awful reason, Richie has made a pact with Nick Floor about, I think it was him, doing a spicy chocolate challenge. Sounds god-awful to me.
Which he did do earlier, by the way. I didn't have a chance to watch it, but I just know he survived it.
Yeah, I luckily am not going to be near Richie when he's doing it, but we will be streaming it on Wednesday. So that's the only reason why I said it's probably not best if you guys come on Wednesday, because I can only imagine what Richie's going to be like. But so he's going to be doing that on Wednesday. But maybe that next Monday show, we could have you guys do the cupcake challenge, because it's actually a ton of fun. I was really afraid that I was going to throw up, because you just never know in that situation. And two, we're shooting it, and I kept on trying to figure out how to like explain it and say all these things without it sounding weird, especially like as the only podcast, I was going to have like 2 females doing it. I was like, how do you say this? It's not weird. But then there's Richie, who like is describing it in the first like couple minutes of our Monday podcast. And I'm like, Richie, you can't be describing it that way. It does not sound right, especially for people who can't see what's going on. They just hear our podcast.
Explicit rating.
Exactly. But so it started because I take the bottom of my cupcake and I put on the top, and then I make like a sandwich. So that way there's like cake on both sides of the frosting. And my boyfriend said I was a psychopath for eating it that way. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go out on Twitter and see if I genuinely am a psychopath or not. And Trollin said the only way to eat a cupcake is to eat it in one like swift bite, and that's it. Polly Cupcakes said that the way I eat it is very genius, and that I take very personally because his name has cupcakes in it. But so I said I didn't believe him, so I challenged him to actually show me he can eat a cupcake in one bite. And they ate the cupcake in one bite and then chased it down with a beer. I wasn't ballsy enough to do that, but we did do a cupcake in one bite. And now we're challenging everyone in the network to do it because we want to see if everyone else can do it. It's not the most graceful thing in the world. There's literally screenshots that we have of me trying to like fit this cupcake in my mouth, but it's
quality
fun
content.
and it's delicious. Mm-hmm.
Somehow we got to get that connected to some sort of charity or something. Raise some money for it as well.
It's
I
like
mean,
the ice bucket challenge.
Yeah, you see all these challenges going around. I mean, that would actually be a pretty cool thing to do if we could find some way to make that work.
Is there anything
absolutely.
Could we raise money for like youth hockey or women's hockey or is there a program like that you know of? Maybe we can start raising money for.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great idea.
Yeah, let's look into that. And by the way, just as a disclaimer, you know, we can't get away with using mini cupcakes. They have to be like the standard issue Valentine's Day cupcake, right?
Yeah, and that's what. So Richie, I don't know, apparently already had a bunch of the little miniature cupcakes at his house. He goes, "Oh, I was going to just have us eat some of these as like a joke," and I was like, "That's not a challenge. You actually need to like have." And then I bought like the bigger cupcakes just for my own consumption later because I was like, there's a nice middle there. You can't get one of the ones that like, you know, you get at like a cupcake store or whatever. Or I don't know if you guys have them in St. Louis, but the
Jilly's
cupcake vending
yes.
machines.
Oh, cupcake vending machines?
I think we have one of those around, actually. I want to say I have one down the street, I think. It's actually a cookie shop, but I think they have cupcakes there too. So I'll investigate.
We have them in Scottsdale, but yeah, so the ones that come out of those are like the you know, the ones that like the shops would make. Those are too big. Don't go for that. That's not, there's too much frosting involved. But skating for Leighton. Good job, Richie. What a good idea. Skating for Leighton. Leighton is, I think she was 8. I hate to get that wrong. But she just recently died of cancer, and so they are doing a donation for her for getting the girls in youth hockey. So that actually be really cool. They're doing a skate for her right now, so that would be a really cool one to do. Thanks, Richie, for that. But I don't even remember what I was saying. Oh yes, you have to do a medium-sized cupcake, or you'll either be setting yourself up for failure or cheating.
Yep. All right, so next Monday, Sporty with Cori and Richie, Wags and I are going to be shoving full-size cupcakes in our faces. We do it for you, the fans, and we might be doing it for skating for Leighton as well. We just had Layla Anderson and her adventure with the Blues, and St. Louis fans responded to that big time. So I'm sure we can get us, our Bluenotes supporters, to help out skating for Leighton as well. So also, whenever the Coyotes move to the Central, we might have to have you do an emos challenge. And Kurt Price notes that Josh Hawley hates emos too. Then he says, I don't know if that's true, but he looks like the guy that would hate it. So
I like the assumption.
I like it. I really like it. And not only that, but it would be the populist move for Josh Hawley to hate something that everyone else hates. So we're not going to get into politics. That's as far as politics we're going to get into here. So that's going to wrap it up for us here, Cori. Thank you so much for being a guest on Bluenotes this week. And where can we find you on social media? And what do you have planned for Sporty with Cori and Richie this week?
We are going to be talking about our cupcake challenge, obviously, a little bit about the games that are coming up and the games that we've already played. And Richie has some random shit stories again, per the usual. I don't know where the man finds them. They are in some deep, dark hole somewhere. A lot of them come out of Florida, so I feel like any Florida team would hate us. But they're usually very entertaining. You can find me at Cori Nicole on Twitter, Richie at rflores91, and we are at Cori Richie Show on Instagram and at Cori_Richie Show on Twitter. I always have Richie do that, so I am terrible at it, and I think I just got them all right, and hopefully Richie's watching if I got them wrong.
Well, a good thing you can rewind just in case, someone was like, what did she said what? And then we can go back and rewind. So thank you so much, Cori. And by the way, check out Sporty with Cori and Richie. Arizona is going to be our new division rivals next year. In fact, they're already a pain in our ass because they seem to beat the Blues every time the last, couple of years. So get to know our new rivals. And by the way, secretly, we are working on something for you guys whenever you move to the Central. Little something on behalf of your future divisional rivals. So we can't say though until it's going to be a surprise. So
I don't know if I'm excited or scared.
It may or may not include emos. I don't know. Wag suggested that. I don't think we're going to do emos for you.
We don't want to hurt them that bad.
No, we don't. We want them to have a good impression of us after all. So maybe some malls. Some Malls barbecue sauce.
Yeah, that would be good. That would be real good.
We'll figure it out. We have some options. We can even drop some Best Cola into the care package. We'll see a little orange whistle. If Blues fans would know what orange whistle is. So, Cori, again, thank you so much for being on, and we'll talk to you next week.
Thanks for having me, guys. Always love seeing you.
Thank you. All righty. Well, we've gone 90 minutes here on
a full 90.
This was an action-packed stormer the whole night here. And any final thoughts?
I'm just excited for what we've got coming up this week. The Arizona games are always, I would say, fun, but because they always beat us, it's not so much fun for us. But I think they are going to be fun. And then we got Colorado coming up as well. This is going to be a very, very important week for the St. Louis Blues. And if they can get through this with 6 points, I would be very, very happy, I think.
I would be very happy as well. Kurt insists that Cori would love emos. And I don't think so. I don't see it. Then again, I don't know what the kind of caliber of pizza that you can get in Phoenix.
That's true. It could be a step up.
I mean, but it's like, here's the thing with me and emos. So my favorite pizza place in St. Louis, I've bragged about it multiple times. It's this little hole in the wall, spoken word of mouth place called La Pizza. It is on Del Mar and Old Bonham near 170 in University City. Legit East Coast pizza made by a family from Queens. Once I had that pizza, I'm not going back to fucking emos. Seriously, I've had quality. I have had real, honest to goodness East Coast quality. And you expect me to go back and, pay $40 for emos? Really?
No.
Really?
No. See, for me, I grew up on Pantera's pizza, and thankfully I've got a Pantera's out here in O'Fallon, so we get it. I don't get it as frequently as I'd like to, but you order a hunk from Pantera's, and you are getting more than what you're paying for. So for me, it's quantity it's quantity and quality over emos, essentially. So, but I'll say this: if emos were to sit there and say, "Hey, we'll pay you X amount of dollars to promote our product," I'm signing on the dotted line.
Emos is the best. It's number one. It is, fuck what Dave Portnoy says. It is the bomb. By the way, Kurt does admit that he loves, I assume that's Pantera's, not Pantettas. English is hard.
Pantitas? Because Pantitas might be pretty good too.
By the way, I will admit I grew up on Cecil Whitaker's. And I like Cecil Whitaker's, and they're also affordable, especially compared to Emo's.
We had Sarah's Pizza growing up in Maryland Heights. It's sort of very similar to Cecil Whitaker's. I've never been able to get into thin crust pizza. I just can't. I don't know why. I think it must be because it's legitimately thin. I can't even eat like Pizza Hut thin crust pizza. It's still too thin for me. I gotta have some substance to my pizza.
It doesn't feel like you're getting value. Like if you get thin crust pizza from Domino's, Pizza Hut, whatever, you're paying the same price, but you're getting so much less dough.
Yeah,
it's like why bother?
More dough for less.
Exactly, and it's just I also worked at an Emo's at my very first job, so I got to eat Emo's all the time, and I got so sick of them I didn't eat them for like 10 years. I think St. Louis style pizza honestly is something that if you have not experienced quality pizza elsewhere, it's fine. But once you've experienced good East Coast pizza or good Detroit pizza, I don't want to say Chicago deep dish because Chicago deep dish sucks in my opinion. But once you've had a bit, you like Chicago deep dish?
I do.
Why? It's not pizza. It's a casserole.
Exactly. I like casserole. So maybe you can't call it pizza. I mean, for me, I don't know what it is. I'm German, but I love Italian food. Maybe it's just because of my nature to, our heritage to take over things like that. I like Italian food, and that's like, for me, that is like quintessential Italian food. It's everything. It's pizza, it's pasta, it's everything kind of all seem to roll into one. And I absolutely love it.
I have 0% Italian in my heritage, and yet it's my favorite food. I guess I've just gotten unlucky with Chicago deep dish. I've had it maybe 5 times, and each time I've just been kind of whelmed. Not underwhelmed or overwhelmed, just whelmed.
It's a little bit more expensive than it probably should be, but for me, I've had good experiences.
Yeah. Do casseroles have crusts?
The good ones do.
The good ones do. That's right. Like a green bean casserole. You get the like that bread onion stuff.
French onion chips and
the
stuff.
French onion chips. Yeah, that gets crusty. That gets crusty. By the way, Kurt is apparently doing all this on his treadmill. So I feel in the future, Wags, we need to do our show on a treadmill if we're going to keep up with the Kurt Prices of the world.
Ooh, it's really bad. Is I'm looking to my right, and I literally have a treadmill right to the right of me. But I'm tired. I'm tired just looking at it.
Looking on the best city on the Mississippi, the best in the Midwest. No, you don't want to hear that. Okay, I turned off so many listeners just even by doing that. So that may be too hazardous for human consumption there. All right, I think we've gone long enough. It is 11:30. I'm getting slap happy. I have to be at work in 2.5 hours, but I do this for you, the viewer, and you, the listener. And I want to thank you because without you, there's no me, there's no Wags, there's no Luke Widbin, there is no Guy the Hawaii Blues fan, and there is no entire freaking hockey podcast network. I'm Tom Franklin reminding you to not be a chump and always play to the whistle.
A reminder that you can follow Bluenotes on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram at Bluenotes Pod. I'm the voice of the Blues, Tom Calhoun. Jeremy Boyer, play us out.
You're listening to the Hockey Podcast Network, your home for hockey talk covering every team in the NHL. New episodes every Monday. Download at thehockeypodcastnetwork.com or wherever you get your podcasts from.